Welcome, everyone, to the great No DQ debate here on NoDQ.com and the Jeff Meacham Network as well. I have Jeff and Robbie Vice here to discuss the AEW Full Gear pay-per-view, and I'm hearing echo, Jeff.
I got it.
Okay. We're live, pal. So let's make sure we have no echoing. We got to be able to hear everybody without echoes. This is a very important debate. Now, we will be discussing the Full Gear pay-per-view and 3 matches in particular, since we are going to be doing 3 rounds of this debate. Jeff, I'll start with you. How's it going, man? And your overall thoughts on Full Gear?
I was pleasantly surprised how much I enjoyed the show overall. I mentioned this last week when we were talking about it throughout the week, but I still have a very hard time justifying paying $50 for pay-per-view in the network, WWE Network era, but I do enjoy AEW shows, and Dynamite and AEW Dark made me want to see this show, and I did. I saw the show. It was a great show. The 3 matches we're talking about in particular, I do have very mixed feelings on for a variety of reasons, but I feel overall it was probably not as good as some of their efforts in the past, but definitely better than the most recent one they did. Because the most recent one they did was so full of controversy and such a train wreck that I feel they only had to go up, and they did. So.
All right. Now, the general consensus was that this was a great pay-per-view from AEW and on par with the pre-pandemic pay-per-views. Robbie Vice does not agree with this sentiment. So, Robbie, how's it going, man? Your thoughts on this pay-per-view overall?
Oh my God. Well, I'm good. I got married last week. It's been an eventful time. So this pay-per-view, I thought it was insulting to wrestling fans. I'm not talking about the Fedora Army. I'm not talking about these anime boys that just want to see their Super Saiyan guys jump and do flips in the ring. I'm talking about actual wrestling fans who have respect for the business, who have watched it for a long time and aren't interested in just spot after spot after spot, overbooked messes. This was $50 that I could have spent literally on anything else. I honestly could have thrown $50 in a deep fryer and I would have felt more satisfied than at the end of this pay-per-view. There was like 1 or 2 segments I thought was good, but man, not worth it. Not at all.
All right. Well, Big G just chimed in with a $5 super chat, and Virtue is here as well. Big G says,
hey guys.
Let's go, Jeff and Robbie. So I guess he's cheering you both on. He hopes you both do well.
Neutral.
Interstate Kyle is here. He says, what's up, No DQ Galaxy? Shout out to Interstate Kyle. Check out his channel on YouTube. Let's go ahead and get started with this debate. We are going to have 3 rounds. Each round will be about a particular match on the card. You guys will each have 90 seconds to make your argument, and then we can do counter arguments. We'll start with you, Jeff. The first topic is going to be the main event of the pay-per-view. Jon Moxley versus Eddie Kingston for the AEW World Championship. So you're arguing why it was worth the praise that it got. You have 90 seconds. Go.
Again, it's hard for me to say because, Eddie, I've had a long standing criticism with Eddie Kingston. He proved me wrong Saturday night. He went out there and had the match of his career. He had a match that I was not expecting him to have with Mox. These 2 guys tore it up. They went tooth and nail, back and forth, beat the tar out of each other. And I feel that it lived up to the hype, the overwhelming hype, some would say, that it got. Now, there was a couple of spots I didn't agree with. The barbed wire thing with the throat, that was a little much. The rubbing alcohol, I could do without. But overall, I feel Eddie delivered in what he said he was going to do, and he refused to quit until the bitter end. Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley had never quit before, so God bless them for living up to that hype. That it took sadistic, measures to get Eddie to quit. Barbed wire to the throat, that's pretty freaking hardcore if you ask me. So I enjoyed it for what it was.
All right. Well, Jeff finished his thoughts within a minute. Good job, Jeff. So I will go ahead and reset the timer. And by the way, Mr. Tito is in the house. He says he agrees with Robbie's initial statement. So, Robbie, you at the least have 1 supporter in this chat room. So, Robbie, we're all waiting to hear.
Supporter. Okay.
We're all waiting to hear your thoughts. You got 90 seconds. Go.
Okay. So I'm going to say this just first and foremost. I do not think Jon Moxley is a main event talent. And without him being a main event talent, it's really hard for me to buy into this. Eddie Kingston has not been in the major leagues of wrestling for most of his career. Yeah, the guy could cut a good promo, but when you have people like even Jeff just said, if the match of his career is a loss, what does that say about this guy's career? And why should I care about this match? I feel like the hardcore gimmick wrestling is about 20 years dated. Anything that's happened in this match, we have seen so many times. We see the barbed wire, we see the thumbtacks. This is a hardcore match in that same sterilized. This is a hardcore match in that same sterilized WWE sense. It's not going to be ECW, and the match wasn't interesting. My big question to end this off is how many times can we have the exact same Jon Moxley match? And how is this going to bring new fans to the product? This entire pay-per-view, and this is my point of a lot of this is made for niche hardcore fans. This is not casual fans. This is not creating new fans. If you show just this match to someone, they're going to say, why is Dean Ambrose fighting this mechanic from Jersey and why should I care about it? Like, there is no chance Eddie Kingston was going to win this match. I don't know. I didn't see it. For being the main event of a $50 pay-per-view, I do not see how this was a good thing. Interesting unbad champion, man, and the match followed because he fought a jobber.
All right, your time is up. All right, so now we will do the counter argument. Jeff, you have 90 seconds to counter what Robbie said. 90 seconds, go ahead.
The only thing I have a real bitch with is the thing you said about Moxley not being the main event champion. Like, I don't know where you've been the last 10 years. Like, Jon Moxley has been an incredible champion for AEW. Yes, he beat Chris Jericho, which Jericho is the guy, let's be honest. But he's done very well in carrying the championship thus far. Only reason he wasn't the guy in WWE is because Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns were in the same group as him, and he unfortunately somehow got the third string of that group, which was complete horseshit in my opinion, because Moxley's, I feel, in that moment of the Shield, 2014 or so, he had more talent saved up, built up for him than Rollins or Reigns. Now, both of them have gone on to do great things. Let me just clear that. I think John's been a great main eventer with AEW. He's done very well in Japan. He's carried the U.S. Championship, and when he's able to go over there and defend it, he's done very well for himself there. So to say that John's not a credible main event champion, I think is a huge disservice to Mox and to everybody who's booked him in the last 10 years or so. Highly disagree with that.
All right. Jeff, you're hanging to the left just a little bit, as you tend to do sometimes. Thank you for that. Dwayne Atkinson sent in a $3 super chat, says, knock it out of the park, guys. I know you will. Well, so far, so good. We got people here having a good time in the chat room. Now, Robbie, we'll get your rebuttal here in just a second. There was a comment here from Kristen, and maybe you would like to address this. He says, it's a predetermined sport. Why does it matter if he lost, in regards to Eddie Kingston? And Interstate Kyle says that Moxley has cooled off as champion, just like when he was WWE champion 4 years ago. So that's Kyle's take on that. All right, Robbie, you have an additional 90 seconds with your counter thoughts. Well, go ahead.
Right. And I want to say to that comment, if he was worth anything, he wouldn't have been a jobber and he wouldn't have been booked to lose. So that's my answer to that. No, Jon Moxley is the only reason Jon Moxley is remotely popular right now is because a lot of these indie marks and these people who just absolutely love everything AEW does, they love this man because he stuck it to Vince McMahon. That's it. He was bottom of the Shield totem pole. There's a reason that he could not climb above Seth Rollins, because he is never going to be the worker of Seth Rollins, and he's never going to have the charisma or the drawing power of Roman Reigns. If you gave Tony Khan the option to either have Jon Moxley, Seth Rollins, or Roman Reigns, he would not be picked in the first two 99 out of 99 times. There's just no way that's going to happen. Also, if he was such a credible, good champion, why was he never booked in WWE to be such? He easily could have been something in the mid card, but it wasn't ever good enough for him. He always thinks he's better than he was. And there's just no way, because this guy, he's Stone Cold Mick Foley without the work rate, the charm, or the talent.
Wow.
Wow.
All right, well, Jeff, anything else, since you went short with your two, any other comments you would like to say before we wrap this up?
I just want to say, the person that said, it's predetermined, why does not do this? if you're so worried about being predetermined being a factor, why are you even watching this show in the first place? Shit, seriously, I'm just saying.
Whoa!
you are on the wrong show here, brother. Sorry. Hi.
All right. Well,
That's
Virtue
It's
sent
been
in.
predetermined since the 20s, but what do I know?
Oh, I thought it was before the 20s, but hey.
Well, we'll get that another time.
Okay. Virtue sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Virtue. We appreciate it. We hope you're doing well. He said,
Virtue, definitely.
He said, Virtue is the greatest no DQ debate king. Well, maybe we'll get Robbie and Virtue in a debate. So at some point, that would be a fun one that we haven't done yet.
There is no question that Virtue is the master debater. Moving right along.
All right, let's move right along here. Oh, he says, where is Meacham broadcasting from? Iraq?
Yes.
All right. So now we move on to topic number 2, which is...
I'm the whitest guy here. Help me! Anyway.
Well, there is like an orange tint on your video. I'm not sure if that's what he's referring to.
I'm not sure. It's probably my damn light back there behind me, probably.
All right. Topic 2. This one should be fun. The Elite Deletion match. And chat room, I want to know from the people in the chat as we start this next topic, who won that first round? Leave your comment and let me know. But now the second round, Elite Deletion. Robbie, I'm going to start with you on this one. Your opening argument. Why was this not an entertaining match or a good match? I'm going to let you explain it, your thoughts on it. You were not a big fan of it, so tell us why. 90 seconds, go.
This is the stupidest thing I've ever seen that I've ever paid for in my life. Just to put it into context, I was preparing for today, and my wife asked me what I hated about this thing so much. I tried to show her the match. She made it about 4 minutes in. She's like, "I'm sorry, this is stupid. I don't want to watch this." So no, they're not creating casual fans. They're not bringing in new fans with this. This was expensive, stupid, and this is made specifically for the Fedora Army marks that love AEW no matter what they do because it's anti-WWE. This has ruined Matt Hardy's legacy. This did not get Sammy Guevara over at all. I don't know what this is doing for younger talent except for bringing in wash-ups. Like, I love Hurricane, dude. I love him as a person, but he's not relevant today. Dude, Gangrel, one of the nicest guys on the planet. What is happening in AEW? I thought this was a place that you could go as a young up-and-comer to actually get a fair shot, but people just keep getting buried by these veterans. I don't understand that. And I want you to explain to me, if this is a $50 pay-per-view, and again, these Fedora guys are just loving this and eating this up. Explain to me how does this stand up against past great matches? Are you going to say this is like Flair Steamboat? Are you going to say this was like Macho Man Miss Elizabeth Wedding? Is this something you're going to be talking about in 20 years? Did people really pay $50 and actually enjoy this? That I don't see it. And here's the other thing. If this happened to WWE, this would have been crucified. How many times do we have to move the goalpost because Tony Khan needs to play with his toys?
Okay. Your time is up. Report Card Radio says you are a dumbass. This is inaccurate. The Ultimate Deletion was good. I thought it was the Elite Deletion. But anyways, Jeff Meacham, your response to that. Robbie said that Matt Hardy's legacy was ruined from this match. So agree or disagree with that? 90 seconds, go.
It depends how you define Matt Hardy's legacy, how Matt defines Matt Hardy's legacy. That's the thing. You and I are not going to sit here and try to define Matt Hardy's legacy. That's not our place in history. Matt will determine his place in history. And if Matt feels that this added his legacy, good for him. I don't think it did, for the record. But let me just say this. You said it's like Flair Steamboat. Of course it's not like Flair Steamboat. Like, it's not going to be a 5-star Meltzer Classic. No, I don't want to give David any credit or anything, but, it's not going to be your 5-star, technical wizardry that we're going to see in these matches. These cinematic matches are designed for the guys, and I'm going to throw people under the bus here, so sorry, that don't have full-time capability to be in the ring or have a storyline that dictates something outside of the norm. Now, you had the main event be the same thing. It was a hardcore match. It wasn't in the norm. This thing was a spectacle, and it was supposed to be a spectacle. Now, I will say this in agreement with your dislike of this, that the head trauma thing, even though he's protected with Sammy, was in my wheelhouse not cool because of my past. But overall, I feel this match did exactly what it was supposed to do. It was supposed to show how much these two hate each other and how far they're willing to go to end each other once and for all, even in the purposes of the storyline. So I think it did its job.
All right. Now, before we get to Robbie's rebuttal on that, Power Packers 90 sent in $2. Thank you for that. He says, MJF and Darby got buried by the vets on Sunday or Saturday? Question mark. Robbie, I'll let you answer that real quick before you do your rebuttal. So just answer him real quick since we're not going to be talking about those specific matches. Go ahead.
I mean, Darby Allin won by a fluke roll-up, so I don't think that looked strong at all. Cody wouldn't let him beat him clean, so I wouldn't really say that's going over. And as for MJF, okay, so what? He beat up a washed-up has-been Chris Jericho who's done nothing but lose a series to Orange Cassidy. Oh my God, he just came off this amazing Mimosa match. How will he ever beat him? Dude, get over it. As for my rebuttal to Jeff, I'm going to say, yes, it did. I can say this ruined his legacy because I could never take Matt Hardy seriously ever again. And you said this. That showed that they're so angry at each other that they would go through any means. Have you ever been so mad that you had a 49 or 59-year-old vampire show up with bad teeth that you couldn't hear or understand what he was saying and then shot fireworks at each other like an asshole? No.
You don't know if I did that.
That's fair. But I'm going to guess that you haven't because it's stupid. But I literally have in my notes like 5 times how stupid this was. This did nothing for anyone. This did nothing for anyone. This was 100%. Everyone says WWE is an audience of one. This is literally Tony Khan, who is a spoiled rich Mark, playing with his toys and making them dance.
All right. All right, Jeff. So you can have your last rebuttal to that. And we do have a super chat in here from Big G. Big G sent in $5. And he says, which is WWE or Impact or WWE version of a deletion match? I'm not sure what he means by that question. Maybe he's asking, do you think it was like
better? Yeah.
Or do you think it was like a WWE version of the deletion match or Impact's version of a deletion match?
Oh, okay. I would have to say it's more like production value wise, it's more like Impact, but presentation is more like WWE because they had a broader presentation. But I think the production values weren't, near as good as say like the one with Matt and Bray, or right. Even the early ones with Jeff. So,
all right, go ahead. Final thoughts.
Yeah, again, I totally get the Gangrel thing. I didn't see any for him to be there either. I love Dave. I love going back way back.
Yeah, nice guy. Yeah, awesome guy.
But but just there's him being there, no sense at all. Hurricane being there, if you're gonna have a match and the Hardy come down, Shane has to be there. It's kind of I think it's in his contract throughout the course of life. If you're having to release a match, you gotta have Shane there. So I get why he's there. He's part of the Hardy family. I get it. It's fine. I feel it did its job because it showed, and you mentioned to me that you ever had it so mad you got a vampire involved? Well, no, but I did get my friends involved. I did get my enemy. My enemies was drawn in by having other people be involved in the fight. That happens to me all the time. So I get that point. But I do understand your point of having the freaking vampire involved. That just
did this create new fans?
Silly. Did it create new fans? I don't feel that it did, but I don't think that was the purpose of this particular match.
That's the point of every match, though. You want to grow your business.
Not necessarily anymore in this era. I don't think every match on your card.
It's just moving that goalpost.
Well, I don't know if every match on your card is supposed to be the match that's going to generate the new audience that I've ever seen. I mean, you don't go to a buffet and get the same thing 7 times. I don't think. So.
No, but I'm also not going to eat something that looks like it sat up there for 6 weeks. It hasn't been changed.
That's a fair argument. Okay. If you feel this look like 6-day-old buffet food, you do you, boo.
All right. Well, Michael Gonzalez says Jeff agreeing with Robbie means that Robbie won the round. What do you guys in the chat room think? Do you think?
I agree with him about Gangrel being there because, like I said, I love Dave, but there's no point in being there. That was stupid. I agree with that one.
Yeah, my reaction was just like, is that effing Gangrel?
Somebody in the chat room while I was on Saturday, I was watching, said everybody thought it was Jericho with vampire teeth. I'm like, you got it wrong.
They have a similar build.
They do right now, anyway.
All right. Before we get to the last topic here, Psycho Jet Black sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. He says, It's safe to say that Robbie Vice hates Orange Cassidy more than I hate Ricochet. Also, does
Yes.
Robbie hate small guys beating the big guys in wrestling? Robbie, you want to answer that question real quick before the last topic?
I don't, if it makes sense. I think if the big guy has a manager trip him or whatever, I don't like when small guys go over clean on a big guy. Like to put it in perspective, I don't think Darby Allin should ever beat Brian Cage clean. The only way for something like that to happen, it needs to make sense. If it makes sense, or the guy's injured, or something happens, sure. But dude, getting beat clean in the ring by someone who's half your size just isn't realistic, and this pulls me right out of it.
Well, let me ask you this, Robbie. I just finished Wrestling Rewind here in the 6 o'clock hour. We were watching Brock Lesnar versus Daniel Bryan from 2 years ago at the Survivor Series. Bryan damn near won that match. Would that have been okay in your eyes if that happened?
If he won?
If he won. Clean. Okay. All
right. Now, Report Card Radio wanted me to ask you this, Robbie, if you know about the New Brood.
I do not.
Okay, the New Brood was Jeff. Help me out here.
Oh, are you talking about back in the day with the Hardy Boys and Gangrel?
The Hardys.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. I thought you meant there was like a New Brood. I was like, I had not heard that. No.
Oh,
no.
Yeah. The old New Brood.
And that's fine, Aaron. But I will stand by Robbie on that one. There was no reason they should have. Sorry.
All right, well, I disagree with. I disagree with both of you. I liked Gangrel. I popped for that. I was entertained by that. I like when old stars come back for little cameo appearances. I don't have a problem with guys coming back every now and then as a cameo appearance.
Agreed, but the fact that he was there and he sided against Matt, it's just like, wait, why exactly?
Because Matt and Jeff went off on their own, so he's got a bone to pick with them.
But there was no build. If they would have had like a bloodbath happen at some point, or at least some small clues of Gangrel, like leading up to it, and then that could have been a payoff. But it's not a payoff if you're like, why the hell is this happening? Like, I don't know. It was cool to see him. I mean, I was like, oh, cool, Gangrel.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, but if they could have just planted some seeds. But again, Tony Khan would have done that if he wasn't a giant mark playing with toys and actually hired bookers to tell him how to do this.
Okay, let's move on to the final topic here of the evening, which is the tag team titles match. FTR defending against the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson. Jeff, I'll start with you. You had very high praise of this match, so I'm curious to get your thoughts here live on the Great No DQ debate. You have 90 seconds to tell us why that match was a classic. Go ahead.
First of all, my praise of the match is more for the payoff than it is for the actual match. Let me be clear on that, because I think the Young Bucks honestly just have been. They've been toiling. I don't know if they're toiling because they've been making money hand over fist, but they've been in the Indies for so long. They finally had enough of a following, enough of a build within themselves to get a company off the ground, and they had Tony Khan's help. I'm not going to deny that. But they had the name and the buzz enough to get this company started, and they did the right thing and not make themselves tag team champions right off the bat. They let SCU be the title holders. They let other champions be champions. They bring FTR in, which has been the dream match Robin Salvin over for the last 3-4 years. FTR or the Revival or Dash and Dawson, whatever the hell you want to call them today, against the Hardys. Wow, against the Young Bucks. So we got to see that match. The money in the payoff. We get to see that match, and we get to see the Bucks finally get their big tag team championship win that has eluded them the entire year, the first year of the company. So I, for one, felt satisfied by the fact that Matt overcame the injury and the fact that the Bucks overcame all the odds that had been put against them, and they put against themselves by getting in their own heads by becoming the World Tag Team Champions.
All right. And Jeff, you're hanging to the left again just a little bit, so you got to move yourself.
Damn it, stupid camera.
All right. Now, Robbie, you have 90 seconds to give your take on it. Go ahead.
So this was, again, Tony Khan blowing his load because he doesn't have patience to actually do a correct storyline. I cannot believe they gave away this dream match with no fans. They're probably a year away, and they could have built this up, let FTR actually establish themselves. But they're just hot potatoing the tag titles, and I think the tag titles now are just worthless. I don't know how I could care about it. They're going to hot potato it. And Jeff, you want to say that, oh, they let lower guys do it. They didn't want to take the belts. Okay, so they let guys who were definitely beneath them hold on titles. And as soon as the company pulled in a big name, probably the biggest name in tag team wrestling, they decided to pull their EVP card and go over. I mean, and it sounds like that wasn't the initial plan, because all of a sudden they had that random stipulation. If we lose, we're not going to challenge, which wasn't even original. That was Cody's idea. These guys are terrible. They are not good professional wrestlers. These guys do flips, they do dives, they do spots, but they have no ring psychology. The match didn't make sense either. Why was Tully banned from ringside? And why would they even show him on TV if he was? Because that literally made me think that something would happen with Tully later in the match, but there was no payoff for that. The Bucks, dude, forget about Triple H's shovel. People joke about Triple H's shovel. The Young Bucks have an effing backhoe. They literally just buried the entire FTR revival. They hit so many finishers from other Hall of Fame members, and then they took finishers from Hall of Fame members and they kicked out of all of them. That is once again the Young Bucks ego saying we're better than everyone that's ever come before us. But dude, their ring psychology is absolutely terrible. And how do you compare this? You say this was a great match. This is worth $50. This is creating new fans. But my final point to this: how do you compare this to like Dudley Boys, Edge and Christian, and the Hardy Boys? You don't, because it sucked.
All right. Thank you for that, Robbie Vice. Jeff, I'm very interested to hear your rebuttal to that one. You have 90 seconds. Go ahead.
If somebody in Cameron can tell me that I said that the teams that were the tag team champions before the Bucks were lower or less than, I will give them $1 super chat, each of them that says I said that. Because I didn't say that, first of all. I said other teams, different teams prior to that.
But they are
number
lower.
one. Number two, well, that's your opinion. That's your opinion. And you're entitled to it. It's wrong, but you're entitled to it. As far as the Bucks not being great professional wrestlers, that's horseshit. They're one of the best tag teams on the planet right now. And as far as being better than Dudley's and Christian Hardy's, I didn't say it was. Tag team wrestling 20 years ago was the best it's ever been. I'm not going to deny that. But those teams aren't involved anymore. You got Edge, who's semi-retired. Depends what day a double's acting up. You got Christian, who's retired and getting RKO'd and punted by Orton or whatever. You've got the Dudleys, who are Hall of Famers and retired, and you've got Matt Hardy, who apparently is destroying his legacy in your eyes, and Jeff Hardy, who is still working for WWE. So you're not going to see those teams or that style on a regular basis. Those three teams were a anomaly in tag team wrestling overall in the course of wrestling history. I think FTR is. I personally think FTR is the best tag team on the planet right now. I believe that. I stand by that. But I also feel that the Bucks getting their moment in the sun, their payoff is worth it. Now, if they do, as you say, and they hot potato it again soon, then I will come back and say my bad. But I think for now, the Bucks are my champions for a good solid period of time. As far as wasting it on no fans, you know, how long can we go with the argument before it's like, okay, we're not going to get fans. We need to start doing this shit.
All right. Power Packers 90 says the match had amazing storytelling. Robbie is just looking for things to bitch about. All right, Robbie.
I wish I could look for things that I liked, because there wasn't any.
All right.
And
go ahead.
Dude, the Young Bucks, they're not professional wrestlers. Jeff, you can say that all you want. You could use your years of wrestling clout, but you're absolutely wrong, because there's no proof of that. The Young Bucks have never had a wrestling match because they're awful. They do spots, they're giant marks, they're backyard wrestling guys that got lucky and made friends with Cody Rhodes. Because guess what? Until they were friends with Cody Rhodes and people who could give them money to put them on TV, they were jobbers, because that's exactly what they are. They have never told a story in the ring. They can't sell injuries at all. The dude switched legs halfway through the match and he forgot what leg was actually hurting him. They laid there. Their ring psychology is terrible. And dude, at the very end, the no flips, just fist guys who must have been talked into by their stupid Mark Boss to jump and do that flip to lose the match. Dude, I don't know which buck it was. It was probably the ugly one. I'll let you figure out which one that is. He literally laid there and stared at him, waiting for him to do the spot so he could move. All of their moves, all of their matches require so much cooperation from their opponents. I feel that if they were in the ring with an old school tag teams like the Steiner brothers, who wasn't going to let them do all that shit, they would be absolutely nothing. Again, marks who grew up thinking they're better than they are, backyard wrestlers, and all they did was get lucky.
All right. Jeff Meacham, your final rebuttal. Go ahead.
You're talking about them facing the Steiners. The Steiners didn't let anybody do anything. They were a couple of asshole bullies. Like, there's no way the Steiners were.
The Hart Foundation wouldn't let him do it either. You think the Road Warriors would have let him do that? You think the New Age Outlaws? You think Billy Gunn would have let him pull that kind of crap?
I think Billy Gunn was sitting in the back watching this match and enjoying himself personally.
That's because he was tired. He doesn't have any dog in the race.
well, his kid's there, so there's that. Again, I completely disagree with them being great professional wrestlers, and unfortunately, a lot of people feel that the spot monkeys or whatever aren't great wrestlers. They know what they're doing too. They just know what works, what gets the people to pop. You're not popping for it, but you're not the hard. And I'm not saying that I am either, but I enjoyed this match. I'm not usually big on the Buck spot. I've been at ringside during a damn Buck spot test. I go, can I go to the back? That'd be neat. But I enjoyed this match. So.
All right, then. So there you have it.
I'm good.
All right. So chat room, who do you think won the debate? The third and final round there. Overall, the 3 rounds. Who won the debate? And if you guys have any final questions for Jeff or Robbie Vice regarding this pay-per-view, throw it out there in the chat room and maybe I'll ask them. Or if you have a question for both of them regarding the pay-per-view, we'll go into a little bit of sudden death here. People are seeming to be split up to this point. Well, Virtue and Mr. Anderson said that Robbie won, and a couple others have said Robbie. Actually, quite a few are saying Robbie, although we are seeing a lot of people saying Jeff too. CC Drink says, I do not like the Young Bucks. Young Bucks, not everybody's cup of tea, and the Elite Deletion match, again, not everybody's cup of tea. Wrestling is very subjective. There are different ways to look at it, different flavors of ice cream, as Cody Rhodes talks
about. All I'm trying to say. Robbie seems to be steadfast on his, well, there's only one flavor of ice cream that works, and that's the technical wrestling stuff, the Flair Steamboat.
When did I say that? When did that come up?
I'm not saying you said that verbatim. I'm trying to make an analogy here. Let me be, please. Thank you. You mentioned talking about, Flair Steamboat is the way to go. It's like, yeah, you got Flair Steamboat here, but you've got, this stuff here. Wrestling's always been like a circus. I'm not saying that's always a good thing, but wrestling always had different matches to appeal to different audiences. And I feel this show had different matches for different audiences. That's all I was saying over the weekend and all the way through to today.
All right.
Well, there are different flavors of things, and that's also why they make booger and snot flavored jelly beans, and there's only idiots who consume that and think it's good.
Wow. All right. Big G sent in a $5 super chat, says it's a tie for me, MJF versus Jericho. So I guess he wants to know your guys' thoughts on that match real quick. Robbie, what do you think?
If they wouldn't have spent the last couple of months ruining Chris Jericho by having him lose to Orange Cassidy, who's not doing anything with it, I don't know. I think MJF is definitely probably the brightest star in that company. I think that honestly the hierarchy really is Cody, MJF, and then there's a huge drop off in talent for after that. But I thought the match itself was okay. Not a huge fan though, because it would have been a lot more special if Jericho wouldn't have just wasted the last 3 to 4 months of his career being stupid. He needs to really get over the fact that, again, and I said this in a tweet a long time ago, Jericho is where he is because this is the only place where he's going to get paid hand over fist to promote his crappy music and his stupid comedy. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation we're in. Orange Cassidy going over him clean in a feud. Okay, it just makes MJF beating him. Like, okay, can he beat Orange Cassidy? Because I guess that's, if wins and losses matter, I guess the next match to see if MJF is really the up and comer is to see if he can beat Orange Cassidy.
All right, now Robbie, Power Packers 90 sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. We appreciate it. He says, dude, it's bad guys getting a big head and wanted to beat the Bucks at their own game, and it burned them in the end, in regards to the end with the 450, trying to do the flips. So any response to that, Robbie?
I can see that. I think that's a solid point, but it doesn't make up for the rest of the psychology of the rest of the match. I think that could have been the idea of where that came from. But I still don't think it was the right decision, because I look at things like this. Is that something that FTR would do? No. Their entire thing for probably the last 5 years is fist, no flips, or whatever their saying was. So I guess you look at it that way, but that, again, was written by a giant mark audience of one Tony Khan.
And Robbie, a couple comments in here. What do you actually like about AEW? Was there anything on this pay-per-view you actually thought this was pretty good?
I thought MJF did a really good job. I thought that I was going to like the cinematic match, but I didn't. The women's match, like, I think I like the dynamic of Nyla Rose with Miss Guerrero. Yeah, but I did. Okay, I'll tell you what I did like. I liked 99% of the Cody Darby Allin match. I thought the finish did no one any favors because it was like, I can reverse your roll up. They did the reverse roll up like 3 or 4 times, and then he just didn't do it again. So I thought the ending of that match kind of ruined it for me. But leading up to it, and there's a lot of people, especially from my camp, that hated that entire match. I thought Cody Darby was probably the best match of the show, minus the way that it ended. I think if they were really serious on making him into a real star, they should have actually Cody should have put him over clean in the middle of the ring.
All right. And Report Card Radio wanted to ask you, Jeff, about Matt Sydal. Do you think that they're just going to job him out to make others look good?
Well, before I get to the Matt Sydal question, I saw the comment you posted about him, about me not in agreement with Robbie about MJF and Jericho. MJF wasn't the topic of this debate. I agree 100% with Robbie said about MJF and Jericho. Jericho spent the last better part of quarter of a year jobbing to Orange freaking Cassidy. Oops. That was correct. Especially that Orange Cassidy has done screw all with it since. So
right.
I'm with you there. As far as Matt Sydal, I don't even know how to feel about Matt Sydal at this point. I mean, I love Matt. He's a wonderful guy, tremendous worker when he can, but you know, the fact of the matter is he went in there and he botched, and people are just eating him alive for it, right or wrong. And I don't know if, you know, like Robbie said, you know, if Tony is indeed, you know, playing with his toys, you know, moving the goalposts, I don't think he sees a place for Matt Sydal, because Matt's another one of those spot monkeys that are quote unquote a dime a dozen. So I don't think Matt Sydal is as special as he was 10 years ago. So I don't see the overall appeal of bringing him in full time.
Okay, and he asked about Zack Ryder. Why hasn't Zack Ryder appeared more? I think Zack Ryder just wants to keep his options open.
Matt Cardona is not appearing because Tony Khan knows that we hate him.
Well, that's true. I don't hate him.
Because he costs us our hair. Yes, you do.
I still hold a grudge.
Don't you dare lie when you're live. I know you better than that.
All right. I will admit that I'm holding a grudge against the guy because
good, as you should.
He gave me my most embarrassing moment in the history of the No DQ YouTube channel, and all for nothing because the next day he lost the title.
Anyway.
All right, now the DVD Freak sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that, and says, "What would their letter grades be?" Jeff, letter grade. Full gear.
B minus, honestly. It was a decent show, but it wasn't the best thing ever.
You acted like this was a great pay-per-view when you were on Twitter. You were like praising everything, and now you're like,
I praised. No. I praised the Bucks winning. I praised MJF winning, even though he beat Jericho, who's, you know, been taken down a peg. I really disagree with Cody losing, especially the way he lost. But it was a good match, like Robbie said, and I didn't like the main event, except for the fact that it told a good story in that, you know, both guys had to be taken to the absolute extreme before one of them finally gave. So, B minus pay-per-view, but again, I felt it was better than Robbie felt, because Robbie spent the entire, whatever it was, 3 hours tearing the shit out of it.
Yeah. Well, Power Packers 90 says he would like to debate Robbie. We should maybe do that sometime in regards to AEW, maybe for the next pay-per-view or something. Robbie,
debate Robbie Vice.
What's your letter grade for this?
Okay, so I'm a little bit torn here. The more Robbie Vice side of me wants to say this was a D+. And here's where I'm conflicted, because look, I look at this card on paper, I look at what they tried to do, and it looks okay. But the execution, the finishes of some of these matches were just dumb. It wasn't something I think those characters would do. This is somebody, again, it's Tony Khan just playing with his action figures. I'm going to go ahead, and the most fair grade I can give is going to be the lowest C- possible. You are 1 point away from a D+. The Cody Darby match really is what saved this. And Kenny Omega coming out at the end, you know, and his kind of character shift in this story that's telling, because, you know, a lot of people think I hate everything. If Kenny Omega goes back to the cleaner, I'm in on that character, and I'm interested to see what he does. So
I'm with you there. Absolutely.
Yeah, dude. I think for the sake of it, though, they're a C-, but they are like 30 seconds more of stupidness away from being a D+.
All right. Psycho Jet Black with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, can't we all agree on one thing, and that is Ricochet is as over as TJS's clogged toilet after Trump lost the election? Ouch.
I mean, Yeah. I mean, look, Ricochet.
Hey, to be fair, Ricochet got promo time this week because Ali was up his ass this week. So, hey, Ricochet's getting mentioned in promos.
He's moving on up.
Ricochet should just get a gimmick where he gets kicked in the throat and isn't able to speak ever again. And I think that would do his career a lot of help.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's hard to argue that one, but thank you guys for tuning in. Let's go ahead and do our plugs. First, we'll start with Robbie Vice. And you tell people not to follow you, but they may want to argue with you. So in the event they do want to argue with you, where can they find you?
You guys can, if you guys want to debate me, argue me, send me messages on Twitter and maybe set up a debate in the future, you can follow me at Robbie Vice. No DQ Vice. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. I haven't done it in so long. I haven't done it in so long. It's been months since I've actually done a plug, but yeah, it is at No DQ Vice. And if you really think that my opinions were harsh on this, I would absolutely love to debate anybody after every single pay-per-view, and I will give my honest opinions, whether you like them or not. And if I could just take like a couple seconds to say something else, this is a time in our country where everyone is super divided. And I know there's a lot of high tensions politically and everything with COVID. But what I want to say to everybody out there is it's going to get better. Things are looking up. And whether or not you disagree with someone politically, whether or not you disagree with someone for any other reason, it is time that we stop fighting each other. We stop letting the rich control what we do, and we take our country back and we become the America we're supposed to be. So that's my inspirational speech to everybody about elections and just not being a dick. I was pretty bad about it when Trump lost. I was definitely trolling some people, but I pulled it back. I realized that's not how we heal, and that's not how we move forward. So that's a little bit of breaking my Robbie Vice a little bit, but that's kind of my thoughts on the state of the world right now.
All right. Jeff Meacham, go ahead with your plugs, my friend.
Well, jumping off what Robbie just said, if you feel like we feel that politics doesn't work and pro wrestling is real, you can go to teespring.com/store/Greg Cherry Brand and buy the shirt from Greg. You can also buy t-shirts from myself and from Aaron at Jeff Meacham Network on Teespring stores and No DQ COM on Teespring or NoDQ.com/merch. However you want to say. You can follow me on YouTube at Jeff Meacham on YouTube. Very simple. Jeff Meacham Network on Anchor.fm for the audio side. You can follow all of us on Facebook on the Jeff Meacham Network. At Jeff Meacham Network, obviously. YouTube, I said already, and Instagram and Twitter is _Jeff Meacham. It's very, very simple. Tomorrow, don't forget, in addition to NoDQ.com, can't give NoDQ.com with the merch there. You got the mug there. I don't have one of those. I wasn't privileged to get one of those, but tomorrow on the Jeff Meacham Network and on the Greg Cherry Brand, we're going to have day number 979 for Mr. Greg Cherry as he defends the NoDQ.com Wrestling Trivia Championship against a blast from the past. Stagger Lee, for the first time in 12 years, Stagger Lee is on a internet wrestling community podcast. So will he be the one to take down Greg Cherry, or will Greg Cherry move on to 2 weeks from now and face the almighty Virtue? We shall see tomorrow.
Giggity. All right. And Keith Johnson sent in $2. Thank you, Keith. Says, what is Kenny Omega, a babyface or a heel? Don't get it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I honestly don't either. I think he's a heel, but it's not really that clear.
It doesn't matter, I don't think, at this point, because Kenny doesn't care if he's good or bad. He just wants the damn championship. That's what Kenny Omega is. He's a champion.
Also, one last little quip from me. I want to dedicate my victory today to Virtue.
I'll dedicate mine to Virtue too. How about that?
All right, fair enough. Oh, and Psycho Jet Black says, who cut better promos, Kevin Owens or Eddie Kingston?
Kevin Owens, good grief. Sorry.
I think Eddie Kingston delivers a more believable promo, but I enjoy Kevin Owens' promos more.
Yeah. I went into the show not a fan of Eddie for whatever reasons, none of y'all's business.
Eddie should be a color commentator. I think he would be phenomenal.
Eddie has really shown me a lot in this lead. And he really started getting my attention when he was doing the NWA stuff. Mm-hmm. So I think he's picked up his game quite a bit this year, and good on him for doing it. So,
I agree.
All right, well, we'll wrap it up. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest, and we will see you all next time.